Hi everyone and welcome along. Today, by popular demand, we're painting unicorns, and I have been sent some lovely metallic paints, handmade, vegan and cruelty-free by an independent company called Campbella, and I'm so excited to try these with our unicorns. So grab your paints and let's get started. So as I mentioned in my intro, I've got some new paints to try, and they are completely different to anything I've used before because these are handmade, and I'm really excited to see quite a number of smaller independent companies making these special sort of artisan paints. So Campbella have sent me to try these lovely metallic watercolours. So a little bit more on those later, but for now we're painting unicorns. And I think it would be really handy to just talk you through a little drawing guide first. So we're going to paint a few unicorns in different positions, but as usual, it all just starts with a few circles. So this is going to be a unicorn sort of from the front. This is the torso from the front, and then we're going to have the back of the body in a sort of overlapping shape, and then curving up. From here we can start to place in the head. An oval there, an oval there suddenly makes for a lovely head shape, and then ears, of course the very important horn, and then down here we can just shape this out into some nice legs. This is quite a sort of simplified drawing, and then we'll have a tail, and then some nice mane as well, and then we'll just have some simple hooves. I don't want to get too bogged down in too much detail, but essentially starting with those ovals really helps. And again, if we were going to paint one from the side, starting with an oval for the torso, and then I'm going to link it to one at the back of the body, which can then give us the basis for legs coming down. Let's have one coming there. Horse's legs bend back. I beg your pardon, unicorn legs as well, bend back. And then we'll have and then again the lovely curve up from the body. Will have the head again sort of turning back around. And then the mane coming out the side. So you see, excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today. On the whole, beginning with these ovals and then working out from the sides. But let's have a go at painting. My unicorn is going to have a sort of white body and a rainbow mane and tail. To create a body colour, we are going to use a very, very dilute set of colours. So this is looks just like I'm pooling water on my palette, but I promise you there's some colour in there. So we've got some burnt sienna, which is probably just off a shot. Burnt sienna, French ultramarine blue, it's our good old friend the shadow mix. However, what I also want to get in there is a little bit of yellow ochre and some cobalt turquoise, and within there, with enough water, this will make a really nice dilute body mix. But the other thing is I'm going to bring in the gold Campbella paint and just add a bit of shimmer in there. So I'm just going to mix up even more colour, and then we'll be ready to go. I've got a size 4 brush, and we're going to be painting these unicorns in a fairly sort of loose manner. Quite a lot of my animals on this channel are painted in this style. So I'm starting with that oval shape, and of course this body is going to be very pale, so you're just going to have to bear with me as I paint it in, and then the overlapping oval for the back, and I'm just going to allow a little bit of unpainted space there, and then I'm going to start putting in the legs. I think we'll give our unicorn some colourful hooves, so maybe a little bit of a knobble on the legs. And then up comes the curve from the side there, and the head shape. Some ears as well, 2 ears, and we'll just wait to paint in the horn. You could have a third leg in there, a fourth leg, I beg your pardon, but I think we probably don't need it. So I'm now going to paint the other body shape whilst we wait for that one to dry. So again, I start with an oval. And this metallic in the paint is going to really come out and shimmer as the paint dries. And I must say, I'm really enjoying using these Campbella paints. I was sent them with no obligation to sort of film a video with them. This is not a sponsored post, but I'm so impressed by them, and it's also lovely to showcase independent companies doing something a little bit different. So if you want to get your hands on some of the Campbella paints, you can find out in the episode notes how to do that. So we're just creating the body shape just as we described in the little drawing guide. We've got the two circles there, the legs coming down, and I'm just using this pale colour. Whoops, got a little bit of the turquoise there. And we will be making this all come to life with beautiful rainbow colours. Up we come with the neck and the head. And the ears there. I love doing one ear that sort of pokes up and another that sort of points off in the other direction. Okay, so we've got two very sort of ghostly unicorn shapes there. We're going to let those dry, and then we're going to start painting in some beautiful rainbows. So I'm having a closer look at these paints whilst I wait, allow the unicorns to dry. So the cool thing about these paints is, the first thing is they are all individual pans, and they've got a magnet on the bottom, which means they can sit in the tin and you can sort of have them and they'll stay put like that. And it also means you can then arrange your colours how you want. So I've decided I'm going to have a mane and tail with these colours, and then the horn and hooves in gold. I'm just adding water to them, waking them up as I would with any other watercolour, and I can already see we're getting a lovely thick opaque metallic watercolour, because one of the challenges with metallic watercolours is getting an opaque concentrated enough paint. So I'm just going to place these in, and let's bring back our piece. Now this is dry now. There's a very, very subtle, you can probably barely notice it on camera, a subtle sparkle on the bodies of these unicorns, having used a very diluted bit of that colour. But now, oh, the bit we've all been waiting for, I'm very excited about this, we're going to start painting in the mane and tail. Now I'm going to do sort of separate strands of colour, and just want to swizzle my bristles a little bit, make sure I've got a fine tip. I'm using a 3/10 brush. I want a nice small brush to get lots of control, and I'm starting off with the lightest colour, so still very much following a watercolour set of rules, and I'm just going to paint in a series of sort of S curves with my watercolour metallics, and I'm painting them on quite thick so that they show up even against the very, very pale body that we've painted in of the unicorn. And I'm just going to create a lovely sort of wayward flowing mane, and then of course the forelock as well. With these S and C curves, and then of course the tail as well. The paint's going on really nicely, and even though I'm using it quite concentrated, it's flowing pretty well off the brush. So I'll just put one more curve of that colour in. Whilst I wait for that to dry a little bit, I'm going to place in some hooves. So, oh my god, this is so much fun. I'm just painting in with that lovely yellow gold some little hoof shapes, leaving a tiny bit of unpainted space, because even though it's sparkly, I still want to sort of do a slightly illustrated shine. So there's these little sort of mounds, almost like half moon shapes, and then finishing them off at the bottom. Really pleased with that. So let's paint in the same over here, and then we'll be ready for the next layer. On to the next colour. So I think it's very important to make sure that your previous colours have dried properly, so then you can sort of layer them up, paint over the top, and not worry about them sort of muddying into one another. And these paints, I'm using them without any other sort of flat colour to thicken them up or anything, so they're working really well on their own. And there we have a very shiny, beautiful rainbow unicorn mane and tail. And you can see in creating the mane and tail with lots of separate C curves and S curves, there's a real wildness to the unicorn's hair, and I really like that. Now there's a few very important things left to do. Of course, the unicorn's horn, and we're going to paint that in gold today. I mean, gosh, you could choose any colours you wanted to do this. But what I'm going to do is, I think first it's quite helpful to maybe just draw in where you want to put it. So I'll just draw a little cone shape. There we go, as a nice guide. And then they have this sort of twisted texture to them. I say this like I've seen one. Well, I mean, who knows? But using my little brush, my 3/10, I'm going to just begin at the bottom with a little curve, and then I'm going to work my way up painting little C curves, getting ever so slightly smaller and with a very little bit of unpainted space in between them to give the sense of a twisting shape. So to do that again, I think it's really helpful to have the pencil guide there, because your unicorn horn could kind of go off on a bit of a funny tangent if not drawn in first. Okay, so we'll say goodbye to the metallics and bring back my regular paints for one last little detail. We need to put an eye in. So to contrast all of this, I'll get my Mars Black, and we want a really nice concentrated eye, and we could do this in a few different ways. So I'm going straight into the paint to get a really solid bit on my wet brush, but I wetted the paint first and I wet my brush first to make sure that both have got a nice smoothness to them. Okay, so let's have a go. This one I am going to just do a little curve with a little flick, and I'm going to just paint down from it a little sort of semicircle, but I've left a little bit of unpainted space there, and then a few eyelashes, which I think is rather nice. Now we do also maybe need a little nostril, I think that's good, and a little smile, I think. For the other one, I'm just going to show you another option to have a closed eye. Just have a semicircle like that, a few eyelashes, and a little wry smile as well. And there you have two beautiful metallic watercolour unicorns. Thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that one and enjoy making all sorts of cards and stationery with unicorns all over the place. I want to say a massive thank you to my patrons for their support, because that support enables us to keep creating videos that everyone can enjoy. And if you enjoyed this one, then hit the like button and comment below to let me know how you're getting on. And of course, if you subscribe, then you'll never miss another video. Until next time, bye!